Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mother Mary Rose transmission for 4/4 of 2026, the day before Easter Sunday that is celebrated by so many of us. Um, Many people are wondering, what are these broadcasts really about? Like, why should I listen to Mother Mary? I mean, what does she have to say to me? Is this simply um, sort of a Catholic kind of thing? And of course, to me, the answer is no, I'm not Catholic. But it's really about love. And so, welcome everyone, whether you're on the call tonight or you're watching it at some other point in time. And I just invite you to take a moment while I call upon Mother Mary and see if you can feel as she arrives for each of us. So, this is my invocation, my roselight invocation to Mother Mary. Beloved Mother Mary, gentle bearer of compassion and grace, we welcome your presence among us. May the rose light of divine love open our hearts and quiet our minds. Teach us to walk with humility, listen with tenderness, and trust the sacred guidance of spirit. Wrap this gathering in the fragrance of peace and remind us that we are never alone. May the light of the rose awaken compassion within us, and may that love flow outward to bring healing and hope to the world. Beloved Mother, walk beside us as we learn to live in sacred companionship with Spirit, and may the rose light guide our way. So let's see what Mother Mary would like to share with everyone, because here she is. So please enjoy and hopefully feel her love that she carries for each of us. Well, let's see. First of all, thank you for listening. Anyone who's here now or later, thank you. I think the reason that I am still coming after all of these years is because you all are on a trajectory of evolution, just as I am. Yes, me too. And this trajectory of evolution has brought you into a place today in the world in which you really can no longer simply be, shall I say, a witness and a receiver. Because what is being transmitted for many of you is counter to what you love, what you know, what you want, what you wish for, what you would like to see and create. So how does one stop simply witnessing it all and saying, oh my goodness, it's this and it's that, and how do I operate? So I think the thing that I really hope I can remind you of, because most of you, none of this is rocket science news to you. You know what I'm talking about. Each of you have a knowing, Knowing, within you, your spirit, your heart, your connection, whether it's to me, to Jeshua, to God, to other angels, to your higher self, to Atman, to Buddha, it doesn't matter. Because that is where the heart of your future transmissions must now come into play. So what do I mean by that? Until you connect with your higher self, with us, right? What you're doing is you're operating from your human perspective. And from a human perspective, it looks pretty dangerous out there. And it looks like a lot of challenges all over the place. So if you're only looking that way, it's easy to sort of want to just sort of hide in your house and pull the covers up over your head and say, please stop, stop, stop. So coming into your soul self, your soul sight, now what starts to happen is you think, I must have signed up for this. I don't know what I was thinking, but I must have somehow signed up as a soul to be here in this world at this time for some reason. So what's the reason? Well, the reason that I've asked Samara to begin speaking about the rose light is that this aspect, this energy, this transmission is not, again, something brand new and, the latest technology. It's really part of your evolution. If any of you have studied the chakra system, you start with, the ground, and then you have your red chakra, your root chakra, and this and that, and this and that. And, that can be very helpful. But it's also just a very limited way of thinking about what is the energy that I can transmit. And so what we're choosing to remind you about right now is the pink rose, the rose light, is really the closest thing that you could think about, is the crystal that many of you know called rose quartz, right? Very easy to find. Go get yourself some if you don't have it. And what does it do? What does a rose quartz do? Well, first of all, what it does is it carries the energy of unconditional love. So whenever you're feeling a little down, whenever you would like to, sort of uplift yourself, this is lovely. You can make a bracelet or a necklace or a mandala or whatever you like, but rose quartz carries the energy of unconditional love. So the rose light is all about establishing that as your frequency. I really want you to take that in. The rose light is all about you deciding that's the frequency that I want to carry in myself and transmit the energy of unconditional love. So now what begins to happen is that instead of just seeing the challenges out there and in a way reacting and kind of pulling away from what you're seeing that you don't want to be seeing, you are developing this sort of soul courage, often associated with Archangel Michael, that carries the sword of truth and the shield of light, and that says, what is my part to play? How can I bring unconditional love into any and all of the situations that are challenging me right now? And you don't have to have really like a specific plan, but that intention, along with your attention to your own well-being and your own spiritual practices, allows you to elevate your energy system to a point where you can now radiate unconditional love, what I'm simply calling the rose light. So that's the challenge of today, is to establish, take care of, and then transmit your rose light. Now, because this is often not the first thing you think of, maybe some of you do, but for many people, that's not the first thing that they think of. Oh, let me send rose light. So one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do is to think about something. Many of you, most of you actually, lived at the time of Jesus. Some of you are like, oh, yes, I think I did that. And when Jesus was no longer on the planet in the way that many of you had hoped he would continue, many of you broke into smaller sects or tribes, right? Because you wanted to stay close to each other. You wanted to continue to practice in some way the teachings that had been brought to you, that brought you so much heart and faith. The challenge is that many of you had only absorbed a certain amount of the teachings, and you were not yet really fully, you hadn't yet fully achieved what Jesus had hoped for you. And so what began to happen is that in different organizations and sects that you created, there was still separation. Let me give you a couple of examples. Some of you decided to become Essenes, and you lived in those Essene communities, and you practice very diligently the ideas of not doing this and not doing that, and not eating this and not eating that, and you sort of pushed away anyone who was not following the doctrines that you had adopted. And again, I'm not trying to make the Essenes wrong. I'm just trying to show you something. And so in today's world, if you take a look at the people that are currently practicing being Amish, it's very much the way the Essenes believed that they should be, and keeping themselves away from modern technology and from other people, and keeping themselves away, in a way, also from physical attractiveness or sexuality to a certain extent. So again, I'm just trying to give you a little taste of what I'm talking about. So what is the rose light today, and why is that important? The rose light is the unconditional frequency of loving yourself and everyone without the constriction of feeling like everyone has to follow certain practices. You will choose the practices that feel right to you, which we honor and support in every way. And you can then take a look at, again, whether it's the beautiful Amish people, which we love the Amish people, or it's the people that are operating in certain other manners of being. You can look at them and appreciate that that is what they've chosen in a way to sustain their faith and their beliefs in a certain regimen and a certain belief system that they believe is what's right. Unconditional means that you know there is no one right way for everyone, and that you accept that, and that you have tolerance for that, while still realizing that there are changes you'd like to see in the world. Okay, so come all the way back around. So it doesn't matter if you belong to the Essenes or if you went with the Children of the Rose or you did this or you did that. What matters is now it's time to really amp up your own frequencies to see everyone with a level of kindness and a level of compassion and a level of understanding, even if they are doing things that you don't appreciate or like or approve of. Because there's another mission for you. So let me just, it's like a two-part mission, should you decide to accept. So the first part of the mission is to realize everyone in the world right now is following what they believe to be true. Right. You don't have to agree. You don't have to also think whatever they think is true, but it's like just stepping back and saying, all right now, everyone is following what they believe to be true. So as you sort of come back into soul sight and just take a look at that and say, okay, that's what they're doing, you will also then be able to access the unconditional love part of you that says, okay, I'm going to choose something in the world to pour my love into. Could be someone or something. And not only that, the third part, it's like I said two, but there's really three. Once you do that, I want you to find two or more other people that share that same concern. They might live close to you. They might be part of your family. They might be someone across the world. That part doesn't matter. So what you've done is you've allowed your own presence to carry the rose light. You have come out of judgment and separation and also sort of the malaise that seems to be over everyone thinking, what in the world is going on? And understand this is part of evolution. This has been in the planning for centuries. Because part of what's next is for people to take back the power and the authority that Jesus told you you had, and that I tell you you have, and that you know that you have. And so coming into soul sight, coming into rose light, coming into unconditional love is absolutely the first job. Some of the things that help are the wonderful things like music and reading and playing and being out in nature, and all the different energy work. All those things help you to move out of judgment, to move out of this idea that your way is the best way or their way is terrible or whatever. Just move out of it and just say, for a little while, I'm going to pretend that I can be like Jesus, because of course you can, who loved everyone. Everyone. Then you think, okay, now that I've raised my frequency, now that I've raised my vibration, now that I feel my divinity, I look around my own neighborhood or my own arena or my own place, and I think, there's something in my view that I can shift and change. And the secret now is to choose and find at least 2 other people who share that concern, that perspective. And it's not that hard. It really isn't, because they don't have to be your best friends. They could be, but it could be, I know a number of you are just fantastic animal lovers, and I'm so grateful. So it might be that you go down to the local shelter and say, gosh, how could I help? What do you guys need? Right? Because what you want more than anything are for animals to find their right home and to be cared for and to have food, etc., etc., etc. So maybe that's where you go. Some of you feel a special bond with veterans, and so you decide that you're going to spend some of your time and energy helping them, and you do. And in this process, what happens is your rose light, without even calling it that, ignites in others of like mind and heart a feeling of support. You think about all the caregivers in the world right now that are really just so at their wits' end with all the various things that they have to do, and just not a lot of support, generally speaking, in the world. And so you think, okay, maybe that's what I'd like to do. Maybe I'd like to be a part-time caregiver, or maybe I'd like to go and say, all right, would you like to go out for 2 hours? Let me come and I'll stay with him or her while you go and, go shopping or get your nails done or whatever. So these 2 other people are not necessarily fully into this understanding of rose light that we're talking about tonight, but they are already doing something wonderful in the world, often with very little gratitude or support. And so when you decide, okay, that's something I could spend a few hours a week on, and you do that, and you do it with the intention of bringing your own strength and unconditional love, here's what starts to happen energetically in the world. Okay. I don't really want to talk politically, but when you understand that if you bomb a country, chances are they're going to bomb you back if they can. So in the world right now, there is this antagonistic energy and this retaliatory energy that if you got in your spacecraft, the one that's running to the moon and stuff, if you looked back down on it, what you would see energetically are these constricting, sort of ugly bands of black and gray and just murkiness, hitting back and forth, et cetera, et cetera. So what the rose light does, and it's a little bit different than many of you use the violet flame from Saint Germain, which is wonderful. What the rose light does is it takes these acts of love in action, Let's just say you went down to the animal shelter and spent a couple of hours and cuddled the puppies, I don't know, whatever. But in that process, a couple of the workers there were like watching you and thinking, wow, isn't it nice to see someone else who's come and done that? There is a cascading effect of that energy that can help to dissolve all of this antagonistic energy that is currently seemingly got hold of a lot of people here on earth. So it's like you become these transmuters by simply being in your heart and bringing service in some way, again, in whatever way is joyous, that feels right to you. One of the things that is truly wonderful, many of you have studied energy work and Reiki, is, let's just say you were going, I stick with the animal shelter for the moment because it's just such a lovely thing to do. So just imagine if it felt right to call two of your Reiki friends and say, I'm going to go down to the shelter, next Tuesday. Would you like to come with me? Because the magnification of having 2 or 3 people who have this same intention that we're talking about, again, is going to really help to shift the energies, kind of like the sun coming through the gray clouds, and the energy will change. Because it's going to take so many small acts that really shift an old paradigm and shift a feeling of almost helplessness in the world into this idea that everyone has a part to play. Everyone has a part to play. Everyone has a part to play. For those of you that, for whom it's challenging to find 2 other people, just look around. Look around. I don't think there's any problem finding a couple of people. They may not yet talk to Mother Mary. They may not understand Rose Light. That part is not important. But when you find a couple of good-hearted people and you say, Thanksgiving is not that far away. How about we start to do food gathering now to help the people, because everyone does it at Thanksgiving, but what about the summer? What about the kids out of school who don't have food? And again, I'm just picking some very, very simple examples. Something else might be more relevant for you. But when you led your lives with Jesus, he told all of you, all that I do, you can do and more. And what I want to say is, it's time. It's time to just say, what? I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to bring my light and share it in the ways that feel uplifting and joyous for me. Yeah. So we're going to do a little experiment. I often do this with the group after the recording, but I think for tonight, we're going to really just douse you all with this rose light. So many of you on the call are already in touch with the rose light in yourselves. And so I'm just going to invite you to just take a moment. There's a place between your throat and your physical heart that if you put your hand there, where you can kind of feel your throat and also feel your heart. And just imagine the beautiful rose quartz, rose light energy being activated. Now imagine it moving all the way through your body, just lighting everything up with unconditional love, great compassion, great heart, great love. And see this world as you would like it to be. See beautiful streams of clear running water. See fertile earth where the crops are growing and they're just so full of nutrition and goodness. See the children laughing and playing. And the old ones, they all have someone to chat with and a little blanket over their knees if that's what they'd like. And the new careers for all of the young people are really about creative ideas like creative farming, creative expressions, new kinds of models of healing, new kinds of models of education. Instead of being a society devoted to being good consumers, you become co-creators. So see through the eyes of Jesus and me and so many, your soul sight, loving yourself, loving your body, loving your life, loving each other, and realizing I came to be a light. I came to share my love. I may not be able to change everything in the world right now, but I can be an instrument. I can be an instrument of light. And so let's send that out to everyone, to everything, to be transformed, to be uplifted, to find love and celebrate it in every way, to find beauty and share it, and to hold each other close, to speak with love to each other, to encourage each other and lift each other up. That is the rose light circle and the rose light. So may all of you begin to feel this, and to the extent that it feels right to you, be the light. Be the light you came to be. Lift your heart and your mind into the frequency of the rose light. This beautiful merging of love and empowerment. To speak up when it's appropriate, to act from your conscience, and to live a life you're proud of. I love you all so much. Namaste. Well, this is Samara, and I hope that that was helpful to you. And even though it seems like Mother Mary's gone, she's never gone. She's always with each and every one of us all the time. So be the light you came to be. Really, it's the only choice. And you can reach me at samaragrace.com if you want more, because there's more videos where that one came from. Much love.